I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome to the Tuesday, October 24th meeting of the Town of Canandaigua Planning Board. One new faces here this evening. And if you didn't sign in, please make sure you do so we have a record of your attendance. And let me introduce the folks that are still at the dais, but haven't left. We have Corrine Hatch, who's our recording secretary, Kim Burkert, our remote access facilitator. We're a little short on board members, at least physically. We have some virtually. Let me introduce the virtual planning board members. We have Amanda Van Laken. Say hi, Amanda. We have Scott Neal. Hi, Scott.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, here at the dais, we have Mark Tolbert, board member, Bob LaCourse, board member. I'm Chuck Euler, planning board chairman. Kim Tristan Smith is our zoning officer. Still at the table is Chris Nadler, our attorney, and Lance Braven, representing the MRB group, has left the room. So we have some new faces, and I wanted to let you know how we're going to proceed this evening. We're going to follow the agenda as published. If you didn't get an agenda, there should be agendas out there for you to follow with. If you want to participate in an item on the agenda, as part of the audience or public participation, part of the discussion, would you please come to the mic, give us your name and address, state your reason for your being here and make a statement, questions, comments, whatever you have to say regarding a particular application. Would you please limit it to three minutes possibly? I know we have some people here on various applications and try to avoid redundancy and also to try to keep the meeting moving, because we do have a long agenda and we want to get out of here in time for me to see my favorite baseball team, the Baltimore Phillies, beat the Diamondbacks this evening, hopefully. So if we can keep the meeting moving, now I'll try to do my part. If you can do your part, that would be very appreciated. I should point out that we have two emergency exits, left and right. Should we have to leave the room, please go to one of those exits for any emergency reason. And now I will call on privilege of the floor. Anybody that's here or in virtual land that would like to address the board regarding an issue that is not on the agenda, now's the time to do so. Do we have anyone who would like to participate in privilege of the floor? If not, we will go on to our agenda. This evening we have two public hearings. They both were advertised in the Daily Messenger on October 17th. So they've been duly advertised and we can proceed with the hearings this evening. Okay, if you follow the agenda real quickly to avoid time, I will mention that we have 4 applications that have been deferred to November 14th. And so hopefully nobody's here for those hearings or those meetings tonight. They include a property on County Route 10 having to do with the solar farm. That's been pushed to the 14th. We have Doug Bennett, who owns property at 4855 Island Beach Drive, and his application's been continued to the 14th. We have Tom Delaney at 3492 Sandy Beach Drive, and his has been deferred as well. And lastly, Robert Updike, 3464 Sandy Beach Drive. I should mention, for the sake of the board, that all these, except for Mr. Delaney, who had gotten a previous zoning board approval, they all received their approval last week from the ZBA. So we will be going forward with those applications on the 14th. All right, we'll move on to new public hearings. First one being CPN 23089. It's Marks Engineering representing Linda Evans, 295 Quaker Meeting House Road, Honeoye Falls, owns property at 5290 Kempner Road, Canandaigua. Tonight, we're just discussing Ms. Evans and the applicant's subdivision. This is a two-stage subdivision. So tonight is the initial stage. So there will be a subsequent ZBA review at some point in the future once the applicant, if the applicant is successful in the subdivision, he or she will proceed with the site plan and zoning variances needed to make the property work. This is in our form-based code zoning district, so it is unique in that regard and has a couple special requirements we have to follow. But all that being said, is someone here representing the applicant that'd like to tell us about this 3-lot subdivision?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's John Jones with Marks Engineering.
Hi, John.
Yeah, so we're here tonight for preliminary subdivision of the 3 lots. Like we discussed at the last meeting with the sketch plan, where the project's broken up into 2 phases, and first phase is the building addition and the preliminary subdivision approval that we're here for tonight. The existing building will remain on lot number 2, and then there will be 2 other lots on each side of that to total 3 lots. The lots 1 and lot 3 are planned for future development, and lot 2 with the existing building will have a addition put onto it to service vehicle for vehicle sales and service. So yeah, like you mentioned, we were here at the last meeting. We discussed the overall development and got the blessing from you guys to go to the zoning board to request the variances for the addition for phase 1, and then the plans to come back in the future for lot 1 and lot 3 when they plan to get developed. So yeah, besides that, I think that's all I got for this one. Okay,
I think the DLD on this stated the lots are of the adequate size under the form-based code. Under the form-based code, the setbacks are very minimal, so they have no trouble meeting those. Board questions?
That's not. No, I have.
Any question I have, and you and I were talking about this, Lance, the easements involved. Where in the process should they be documented? At this point in the subdivision, or in the phase 2 or final subdivision?
Yeah, MRB Group offered a letter dated October 4th, where we reviewed the subdivision application that's before you, and based on the concept plan that was provided and the future development that's anticipated, we're assuming there will be a need for some cross access, whether it be for maintenance or shared parking or shared access to and from the site. So the thought process was, at least based on our comment letter, that be added to the plat as part of the final plat that will come back before you after, I believe, variances are sought.
Hey, John, is your intent to proceed with this evening, then go to ZBA, then do final subdivision, then do site plan at some distant future? Is that the procedure?
Yeah, I believe that's the route that we're planning on taking.
Okay. All right, well then again, if that's the case, that's how it can happen. We did mention in our sketch plan review of your application about providing easements for sidewalks along all the road frontages. I know MRB picked that up in their review letter. We include a 20-foot easement on Route 332 and a 15-foot sidewalk easement on Kevin.
There's already a sidewalk on 332.
Yeah, I don't think there's an easement.
There's no easement, but
No.
I went with 20 foot there just because there's a gas easement as well. So I thought 20 foot would give the town and whomever some flexibility in placement.
It's tough to figure out where the right of way line is. Is it right up the middle of the sidewalk? Because he's showing the property line.
Yeah, the property line goes actually through the middle of that sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
Okay, well then. We would need an easement to the east of that,
Mhm.
out of the right of way.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay, and that is a condition of any approval, right? Correct. Lance, that's in your letter. Okay, the county planning board, any comments they had regarding the access easements? Who are they gonna be to and who are they gonna be from? But hopefully we'll find that out later. Let's see what else.
no development.
Oh, you want to zero in and lot on note 10 in the left side of the plan. I think you're talking a little Chinese to me on this one. I'm gonna zoom in if you could. You have it in front of you, John. It says, no development is proposed on lots 1 or 3. Lot 1 and 2 are not approved buildable. It requires site plan approval. Well, lot two has a structure on it.
Yeah, that looks like it's a, just.
You mean lot 3?
There, yeah, it's supposed to be lot 3.
Okay, would you just make that correction? I think you.
It's
Yeah,
about,
comment
yeah,
about
it's
that,
comment
dude.
number 2 in our letter.
Our code enforcement officer, Mr. Murphy, asked that you show any existing utilities on the property. You have the CEO comments in your conditions. Lance?
No, I did not. Oh, they haven't.
Okay, anybody have anything else? Is there someone in the audience here or there that would like to address the board regarding this application for Evans Automotive at Kempner Road? If not, we'll proceed to seeker, and you want to explain a little bit how we're handling seeker given all these applications?
Sure, so being that it's in the form-based code and we're doing a 2-stage review, we're handling the separate application subdivision, which is before you, separate from the site plan application that will come your way as part of that process in the future. So subdivision applications are considered unlisted actions, and therefore we're presented before you tonight for your consideration. There's an unlisted action, seeker resolution, part 2 and part 3. Please note that the applicant did submit a short EAF part 1, but it was as part of the site plan. And so we had suggested that they provide an additional one that's simply just for the subdivision application, which is before you tonight.
Okay. We have that resolution in front of us. We also have part 2 and part 3 assessment. Someone on the board want to make a motion regarding, let's take the unlisted seeker action first.
I'll make that motion for CPN 23-078 for 5290 Kempner Road. Seeker resolution for an unlisted action. I'll have a second.
Further discussion? Amanda, Scott, anything? No? Okay.
No, I'm good.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's move on to the, what would we call this, preliminary subdivision approval rather than a 2-stage?
We can call it preliminary. I just
Yeah.
followed the language that was in the form-based code as called it 2-stage. I guess it's a
Initial stage?
First stage.
First stage. I think it's should be something other than two-stage, because we're not approving both stages.
Sure.
Approving
It's
the
called preliminary.
first stage.
I'll say preliminary in parentheses, two-stage subdivision.
All right, so we have a resolution in front of us for approval, consideration of a initial subdivision of the 3 lots.
And I'll make that motion to approve the subdivision of 3 lots for CPN 23-078 on Kepner Road for the initial portion of a 2-stage subdivision plot with
I have 9, so
9.
7 was adding the ZBA
conditions.
as a condition, they have to go get ZBA approval.
Mm-hmm.
8 was added, updated short EAF part 1 for the subdivision application is to be provided to the town prior to receiving the final subdivision plan approval. And then condition number 9 was the code enforcement officer's comments are to be addressed.
We need a
Easement.
comment related to number, with the note 10, correction on note 10.
Sorry, say that again.
Correction to
Some
note
pieces
10.
are.
Oh, yeah, well, it's up to you guys. I can most certainly do that. It's in my comment letters, my comment letters condition, so I can spell it out. If you guys prefer,
Yeah, I'm fine.
we're good.
I'll give a second on that.
Is your easements?
And the easement language is in my letter as well.
And
Okay.
it's,
That's fine, that's in there. That's condition 5.
Got it.
okay, everybody good?
Yep.
For discussion, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, takes care of that one. Well, good shot.
I got you.
Our next public hearing is for. Agenda. With the agenda, part of that, I sent over to you.
Probably.
Okay. Our next public hearing is for a property on New Michigan Road. And the details of which, no? So. We have an agenda.
Huh?
You have an agenda?
I don't.
Oh,
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I have my own. Here, you can.
so I can read the, and
Yeah.
I'll find it in the confusion here. Okay, this is CPN 23087. Marks Engineering representing Matt Ferretta, 3768 County Route 4. He is owner of property at a yet to be determined address on New Michigan Road. Requesting a special use permit for the construction business, a waiver from the special use permit requirements, and site plan approval for a 2,000 square foot family residence, as well as a 8,000 square foot pole barn and a driveway to access both buildings. It's in the AR2 district. Someone here representing Mr. Pereira.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's John Jones again with Marks Engineering.
Hey, John. You still on the floor?
Great. Yeah, so we're here representing Ms. Peretta for special use and site plan approval tonight for a new single family house and pole barn. Property is located along Michigan Road. Is approximately 5 acres in size. It's currently a wooded lot, and it's located in the AR2 zoning district. So for the new development, he's proposing a 8,000 square foot pole barn for construction business use, as well as personal use, as in just storing equipment, construction equipment in the barn. And then for the house, it's going to be 4-bedroom house with attached garage. There's going to be 1 driveway access off of New Michigan Road. Water will be provided by a dug well, and then the septic will be on-site private wastewater system. So the special use permit that we're asking for is to allow the home and the construction business on the same lot. And then, or sorry, the special use permit is to allow the construction business in the zoning district. Then the waiver from the special use requirements is to allow the home and the business on the same lot. The like I mentioned, the lot is very wooded. So most of the pole barn and the house you won't even be able to see from the road. The applicant would like to maintain that barrier, that natural barrier of forest. And then the applicant is also not planning on storing any equipment outside, in some sort of contractor storage yard or anything like that. Any equipment will be stored inside the pole barn. And I think that's all I got for that one. If there's any other questions, happy to answer.
Okay, for the record, a storage building is allowed as a special use in the AR2 district. But there is an exclusion under section 220-62B that no construction company storage may be permitted where a dwelling unit is on the property. John, I know the applicant was made well aware of this restriction early on in the process. In fact, it's in the ZLD that was produced for this application. It stated that that was a violation, and he had a couple options to either just build the house, just build the accessory building, or subdivide the property to more or less comply with that requirement. You have gone ahead and asked for a waiver from that part of the special use permit from the code. I guess that's the first thing the board has to consider this evening, is to look whether we're willing to grant the waiver. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney?
I think that's a very good point. I think in context of, you can discuss the entire application, but if it's a flat no on waiver, then maybe that's what Mr. Jones should address first, and then you can discuss and vote, or at least give him an indication whether he wants to withdraw and refile with subdivision or not.
Okay. So, board, let's consider that first. Whether we feel that the waiver in this case is justified to allow for a dwelling unit as well as a construction storage building to be as part of the same lot in this part of the town.
I have a question. John, Bob, of course, here. Is your applicant with you today?
No, I believe he's out of town currently.
I need to confirm, because I reviewed his website and his current location where he does his business. So I'm trying to get it in my head on how he's a construction company, where his website continually says he doesn't dig anything. He's a no dig company. He's a sewer company inspector, I guess, for the most part. I went by his old company up in Farmington, I think it is, right on the line. Saw that building. It's about 3,000 square feet. Nothing was outside. So I'm just trying to figure out, how is he a construction company in my mind?
That's a good question. Yeah, I can't really answer that one. That would be more for the applicant, but I can run that by him and get back to you.
Yeah, I wish he was here, because I brought up the definition of construction company, and it's that's in our codes, by the way. Included but not limited to paving companies, concrete companies, sand or gravel companies, topsoil companies, bricklayers, on-site wastewater, treatment install companies, drillers, installation, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm having a hard time figuring out if he's a construction company. That's where I'm stuck with.
Well, I think he said in his waiver that he is a construction company.
I understand that, that's the,
Yeah, and I mean, he said it right up front. It's obviously, and I think he also states in his statement of operations. I think he does trenchless pipe. Now that involves,
I wish he was
it's
here.
in situ restoration of pipes that are deteriorated. You can fix them in the inside rather than going out. It requires digging a starter trench at either end of the run. I've been involved with this in my former life. So there is construction involved. There are chemicals involved because there's epoxies and different chemical materials used to line the pipes to restore them. So I think whether it's in my mind, it's a construction company, and he's all but stated. So that's sort of like where I like to start.
I think the first phrase, any business related to the construction trade, and then including but not limited to, I would count a plumbing company, any kind of plumbing company, as a related to the construction trade, and then the fact that there are, his operations statement does indicate that there are materials to be stored not outside but inside the pole barn, and there's a truck leaving somewhere, he says.
1 a.m. and coming back in.
Yeah. It sounds like a construction contractor trade storage yard to me. Or at least enough that the special use permit makes sense.
Well, let's do this. I know there's some people here that want to address the board regarding this application. Let's hear from them. And then we can, as a board, discuss the waiver a little more, but I'd like to hear from the neighbors because I know there's quite a bit of correspondence that we received from the neighbors, and if any of those are here in person, now would be the time to speak. So the podium, referring to you, Ada.
All right, I will go first. I'm Edith Davy. I live at 2300 New Michigan Road, so my property would be just to the south of the property. My concerns are about water, both too much and too little. The property in question is at the high point of the what we could call an underground watershed. Groundwater moves as well as surface water. The wells in the area are on tight soils. They're mostly not terribly productive, and they do depend upon infiltration from areas. There are 2 major pools on that property. One to the south east corner, and one approximately where the septic system is shown there. There are many minor ones. These are important for infiltration. If we're adding 10,000 square feet of impervious surface plus driveway, you are looking at a great deal more runoff. The runoff coefficient for impervious surfaces is 90%. For forested surfaces, 15%. I would point out that when we had the terrific downpour on the 9th of July, that the drainage went down across the field to the east, jumped the culvert on Yerkes Road, and required repair there. It is a very sensitive area. And when they say forested, some of those trees were sprouts when Abraham Lincoln was president. It is a very unique area. It should be handled carefully. And I would point out that not only would you have construction trucks going out, you will have delivery trucks coming in. And that driveway, whatever its surface is going to be completely imperfect. I know that the zoning board and the planners have spent a lot of time talking about suiting the project to the site instead of changing the site to suit the project. So I hope that will still be in mind for this project. I think it is inappropriate in the area. I purchased my place because it was in an agricultural residential area. And that is an important factor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davy. Anyone else?
Thank you, Vita. Hi, my name is Scott Cooper. I live at 2280 Michigan Road. Just to the north of this, my property, what's their property? I've lived there for 30 years. And like Edith said, we bought the property because of the agriculture residential part of it. We've got 20 minutes worth of speech here that I'm going to cut down to 3 minutes.
Please.
You're welcome to get your game. So a lot of it was, why are we even talking about this? Because it says right here, you can't have a construction business with a housing business, a residential house with the article 220-62. So it seems like we're making some points here that, and not only that, there's from what my wife's looking up, she said that there's 4 different codes that need to be accepted before this can go through. And like Edith said, with the water can be an issue. This is my backyard. When it rains really hard, their driveway is going right against us. Right here, right 15 feet into the woods is their driveway. It's going to be right next, their driveway is going to go right here. Here's an aerial shot. Their driveway is going to go right here, and here's my septic. And they're building a driveway in the lowest spot of the property. I lived there 30 years. There pools water there all the time. The town had tried to put a ditch there, but it really didn't do too much. It just filled with standing water there. So I don't think a driveway along that area will be, that it's just gonna ruin my property because there's gonna be so much water running off. It's 19,000 square foot driveway. It's gonna produce a lot of water and it's gonna run right off into my property, right into my septic system. And I don't really think I don't want to see it as a good idea. Like I say, I've got 20 minutes of talking here and I'm gonna make it quick. So, we're totally against having a business there. The trees, even though there's 5 acres from front to back, you can still see through. So I'm gonna sit in my easy chair and sit and look at a pole barn. And I'm used to 30 years of looking at woods. And it's just gonna be very disruptive for us to have. There's gonna be noise pollution. He's gonna have barn lights on all night long. We'll be able to see those trucks in and out. There's gonna be a lot of noise. And something else, Mark has a father that has an excavation business. As soon as that excavation business, he retires, that's gonna move on to this property. There's speculation, but it's still gonna happen because they go hand in hand with the excavation company. So those are my issues I have with it. Does anybody have any questions?
No, and thank you for your correspondence too. I got that, I read it. Very informative.
And I got a lot more if you want to read this too.
You can submit that.
You can submit it
You
to
can submit it.
the town.
Give us the pictures too, if you can,
Oh, sure.
for it to be submitted for the record. Yeah, well, these are nice. Would you like to keep these and email us the pictures or?
No, I work at Xerox.
Okay. Anyone else here or,
I'm Kim Cooper, I'm his wife. I want to point out that I take issue with the
Sorry.
idea that there's a barrier. I just need to point here for just a second. This is what he's proposing as the tree barrier between our property, which is right here, and his pole barn. The line of, what is the euphemism you're using for the line of where the trees stop being cut? It's only feet from our property line. It's this line right here. And look at how close it comes to even here. There's not a lot of barrier that's gonna be left. I also
that's
just
the
want,
limit of disturbance.
it's a huge
Yes.
disturbance. I also just want to say that you pointed out that the existing building they're operating from, this is both Matt Peretta and Mark Peretta's business are together in the 3,000 square foot pole barn, which Mr. LaCourse says he drove by. Thank you for your work on that. They're proposing an 8,000 square foot barn on our property. Or not our property, their property, next to our property, facing our house. Thank you.
Well, it can be visible 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, right. Or more.
That'll be the last. Hi, I'm Kim Brocklebank. And we own a farm that is, so we own the middle part of the woods. And to the south, and we own the land to the east and to the west and to the north. And this town, Canandaigua, has put an extreme amount of effort into making the northern part of our county or our town to be agricultural. And they put a lot of money into it, as you all know. And we participated in that too. And, you know, to the detriment of probably our children, a couple of them are here, when we're gone, you know, because they won't be able to sell this land to be developed. But that is something that is really dear to our heart and we wanted to do. So, and our children all agreed, and so we did. And I'm not opposed to a house being built in those woods. I mean, we probably had the opportunity to buy those woods before, but it was not. We're a farm, you can't farm the woods. And the amount of money, $10,000 an acre over that was, you know, you just can't do that. So but there's a couple things, if this gets built like this, it's gonna flood our farm fields. There's just no way around it. It's gonna happen. And it is an agricultural district and it's not for commercial use, although you can do variance, but this is what you're trying to do. And it's my understanding that also that even if we did go through this, which I don't think we should, that the barn should be behind the house, not, and I think that's part of the town. So that's another variance that they would have to go through. I mean, if you can explain that to me,
It changed.
differently. It changed?
Yeah.
So I talked to Mark Warner, and he said, if the lot is vacant, they can put it on there. So what would they do? Build the barn first and then the house, and then. And he said an accessory structure on a piece of land with a primary structure are required not to be not further forward than the front of the primary structure closest to the front boundary line. And that's not, he told me that today.
Mark did.
Mike Warner.
Oh, Mike.
Zoning officer. I clarified because I asked him, he said, except the accessory structures can be built in front of the primary. No accessory structure can be built in front of the primary structure without a variance. So that'd be another variance that you would have to address. But
Does that apply to AR too?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I think it has to be the setback.
Primary structure.
Yeah.
so that, you know, just the way that's set up, that requires a variance, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, it may, we're not, yeah, well, I'm not sure.
Even
In
if,
the AR too.
yeah. So, I mean, before you can vote on that, you have to know that clearly,
Oh,
right?
true,
So,
true.
okay, so I don't have anything else.
Well, thank you. Anybody else? Thank you for your input. Again, we got a number of letters from the neighbors, the Ms. Randall, Watuk. Kim provided a letter. Cooper's, Edith. So we have a lot of information in the history and what's involved with that property. John, did you hear all that? So you can report that to your client?
Yes, I did. I heard that. Yeah, unfortunately, it would have been nice if Mr. Prada could have made it here tonight to help answer some of these
Certainly would have helped his case. Mark, do you have anything?
Just some observations. I mean, as far as I can tell, the request doesn't align with the comprehensive plan. That is one area that I do struggle with there. We also have from a natural resource scenario, 99.998% of the property is listed as successional northern hardwoods. Obviously, something that we care about as a town. So those are really the two major observations that I have on this project.
Okay, the ECB did an extensive review of this application and did a very good report. A lot of the issues I think that are important to this application, or at least to the consideration of the waiver. From my perspective, this is a special and unique lot, no doubt about it. I mean, it wasn't hard to find it because I knew there was woods, and when I was driving up New Michigan, you could see this clump of woods. I said, that's got to be the lot. So I didn't have to go looking for the sign, and we certainly didn't have a street address to follow. And it's a beautiful lot. And I think some of the concerns I have would be, first of all, it is in a PDR area. And we're trying to establish more and more PDRs in that part of the town. So that would be certainly a big consideration. I'm worried about the precedent it would set. Because a lot of times, I know various agencies are asked to look at the precedent. Well, I already have one of those properties or construction businesses in that area. So what's wrong with having another one? So it sort of lets the, to use it, the agriculture expression, the cow of the barn. And so I'm worried about the precedent. Well water, this property would be serviced by well. We heard from the residents, and I think some other concerns from technical people that the water table is relatively low in this area and the water level is marginal. So this would be drawing down water for both the home and the business, but more the concern of the business. It's somewhat of a recreational area. I think there's people use it for trails and walking through it. Certainly is used and utilized by wildlife. Wildlife is a big consideration that we have in our national resource inventory. Mark mentioned the woods, the hardwoods that involved. They are specific on our NRI mapping. And it would be somewhat excessive impervious when you consider both the storage barn and the access needed to get to the barn and around the barn or the storage shed. Fire protection, again, being on wells, there's no water line out there in terms of having any hydrants so water would have to be brought into the site. The water and septic systems certainly would be somewhat questionable in terms of their ability to function. So all that being said, I am against issuing this waiver. And if anybody else would like to make comments before I make a motion that we deny the waiver, I will move forward. But anybody else?
I personally would like to hear from the applicant. Before we, if anything, do a continuation to hear from the applicant. I'd like to hear from them.
Can I suggest that you also hear, I'm just looking at this now. I think there's a few different waivers that would be needed. I don't think you can make a decision today. One of the things is worded is that the application isn't complete until the statement of operations is signed. Right there, it's not a complete application, but in addition to the house on the same lot, there's a section E says that there has to be a 10-foot landscape, a well landscape 10-foot buffer surrounding the entire property. Section R says that there have to be highway entrance signs. I just don't see those on the plan. Maybe they are, maybe I'm missing it. There shall be a maintenance building. Obviously, that's what you got here, but there's just details that all bays to be located facing away from adjacent residential dwelling. I don't know. But I think that's something that you need to address and should be clear, set forth by the applicant. Designated parking area for company vehicles, for employee vehicles. I don't know if that's actually called out on the site plan. I think he says in the statement of operations, we're gonna park inside the building. That seems fine, but I think it needs to be called out.
Chris,
I think
Yeah,
that's
in the past, I think in the past, what we have suggested is that the applicant provide a letter or a statement identifying whether or not they need, are planning to do those things or not. I think the statement of operations, you can see that they were going through it, but they didn't address all those questions. So I would think that at a minimum, we would get the applicant to provide a letter that says, yes, I need a landscaping waiver, or no, I feel that this is the answer.
it's all the more reason to deny it, I feel. I mean, this is stuff that if they didn't provide it, shame on them. And we have, in this group, pushed applications ahead to subsequent meetings, and we just wind up with a backlog of applications due to our looking for more information from the applicant that should have been provided initially. And in this case, because of the use and the proposed storage facility, I feel it's not warranted. And it should not, and it's specifically excluded under 22062D. And if we deny the waiver, that puts this thing to bed. And it's either going to have to come back, as you mentioned earlier, Chris, and look at one of three options. If he wants to proceed with any or all of these, well, any, couldn't proceed with all of them without a subdivision, I guess. So, the application in front of us, and the waiver
Mr.
request.
Chairman, if
Yes.
I might just add, I mean, we weren't aware that we were supposed to provide a letter addressing that code section, everything in that code section that just came about now. I mean, we provided everything that was necessary to get the application on the agenda for the planning board. So anything coming up now is, like Lance was saying, is additional information that we weren't aware is required. So I feel like we should have at least a chance to provide that.
It was all in the code. It's your job as the applicant and his consultant to read the code and see what's required. The fact that you didn't provide it, it's not this board's fault. So based on the information we have at hand and in our interest of moving forward, I will make a motion that we deny the waiver, which in turn will deny the special use permit because they are trying to build a house and a construction company on the same lot, which is a violation of the code. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion? So again, this denial of the waiver essentially states that the application for the special use permit stands as submitted. And being that it was submitted with a house and a construction company structure on the same property, that's a violation of our code and therefore grounds for denial. Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Amanda, how was your vote?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
I oppose.
Okay, so that was the denial of the waiver and grounds for denial of the special permit. And now you're gonna make a motion to deny the special permit?
That needs to be done.
I think so, and I think the reasons would include the waiver of the house on the same lot, lack of 10-foot landscape buffer, lack of signs at the highway entrance, and unsigned statement of operations.
Okay. so-
And the trees,
Therefore, making an incomplete application.
incomplete application, and
Well, the big thing is 22062B. It's a home and that's put that one right up front. Okay, someone want to make a motion regarding the denial of the special use permit?
I'll make the motion for the denial of the special use permit on CPN 23-087.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Can I ask that you provide a couple reasons to Lance why you denied the waiver request? I'm sure you have some, why you don't think it's appropriate in this district, on this lot, to have a house and a storage, contract to storage yard on the same lot.
Well, I think a lot of the reasons I enumerated.
Can you enumerate them again, so Lance can write them down for findings to support your decision, please?
It's a special and unique lot. It is within a PRD area. Could create a precedent for future applications of this nature. Groundwater level is marginal. It is a wildlife area as defined by our NRI. It is heavily covered with northern hardwoods. Would you say 90%, 99%?
99%, yeah.
Heavily treed.
And then comprehensive plan, it doesn't align with the comprehensive
In
plan.
line with the comp plan and the concern about fire protection. And I did mention groundwater. Okay. So
So I'll have two, I'll generate two resolutions, one denying the waiver, support with the findings, and then one denying the special use permit.
Or incomplete.
Okay. That concludes our public hearings for this evening. Thanks folks for coming out. You're certainly willing to stay. Police don't start till 8, so. Another hour. Yeah.
It's cute that you think you're getting out of here by 8. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
All right, we have a site plan from Rocco Venezia. From representing Scott Hill, owner of property at 4220 County Route 16. Scott is back in to request a site plan approval to build a detached garage on County Route 16 in the RLD. Any of the Venezias in town?
Scott Hill's here.
Oh, Scott Hill's here. Okay, Scott, got the main man. Oh, you have to unmute. As a preface, Scott went to the ZBA last week. Got approval for a couple of variances. One had to do steep slope, another had to do a setback. Are you with us yet, Scott?
It's not, I know he's come in and out a couple of times, so you can say, we'll see.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh, there he is.
Scott, turn on your mic.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Want to go through real quick what you want to do out there on Westlake Road?
Yeah, I'd like to build a garage. I tried this way back in 2022, and I got all the approvals and the variances. But then I realized it just didn't work for me. I needed a different plan. So I went back to Erin Venezia, Rocco's daughter, who's a civil engineer. She did the first site plan, and took her a while. It took her 6 months to redo the site plan, which was just a modification on the original. So I'm back now for the variances, which I basically got approval for the first time through a year ago. And I'm just looking to build a garage on a piece of property that's across the street from where my home is.
Okay, and Scott, the variances you received last week were?
Were for the setback, which was the original variance. That one was substantiated and stayed, so I have that one. That's the one I got prior. And then the steep slope variance, which that's totally different. I had originally asked for a major excavation of the slope there, and I was granted that excavation, and I decided it was too costly and not practical for me to do that. So now there's a minimal excavation on the slope. I don't think it actually meets the steep slope criteria, but it's much less than what I already received the variance for. And then the third variance is for a third building on the site, which wasn't even in the original plan. It was an oversight from both boards, and that's been added to it. So that's a third variance, and that wasn't one that was granted originally. So those are the three.
Okay. And I think your original plan back in June of 22 had the driveway coming right into the garage from off of Westlake Road.
Yeah.
And now you're using the existing driveway to the north, and you'll come in the side.
Yes.
So, I think that works much better.
Well, it actually does. Now that I've reevaluated, it works better for me, and it certainly works better for the town and for the site. That's true.
How's the slope in that driveway as you approach Westlake Road? Not too bad?
Well, you can see the contours. No, it's not too bad. I mean, there's no, the houses, mine's one of the only houses on the west side of the road, or sorry, on the east side of the road, on the lake side of the road. So the other houses, this would blend into where the other houses are, and they have the same driveway considerations that I do, but it's not too bad. It's the fact that it curves the slopes around that minimizes the delineation of the slope for the driveway.
Scott, how many trees do you have to take down?
Well, it looks like probably 3.
That's what I thought.
Is that the 3 directly adjacent to County Road 16?
Yes.
One on the slope up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they're walnut trees, and they're double-trunked walnut trees. Probably is possibly a good idea to take them down anyways. If any one of those splits, it's going to kind of cause a mess. So be kind of tidying up the site and taking care of those trees.
And Scott, are you gonna put power out there?
Yes, I'll have electric out there.
Is that on there? I didn't see any
Electric lines? Is it underground or aerial?
right now. It's aerial.
Electric's right here. Here's our overhead pole right here. They don't show the connection.
Scott, go ahead.
I was asked to submit a modified slope drawing, which Anthony did for me, and on that one, well, actually, you can see I noticed that on that modified form, but it's on this one, so you can see where the utilities are there. So I would be just going through an electric hookup.
Scott, could we ask you to replace those 3 trees you're taking out? My suggestion would be along the side of the garage facing Westlake Road, up on top of the hill there.
With some landscaping?
Some landscaping,
Sure.
or on the bank, something that would be native. And that would be in return for taking down the 3 trees.
Sure, I can do that. It's all native now, so. I can pretty that up a little bit.
No invasive on your lot, right?
So are you asking for 3, shaded trees to be provided or landscaping in general?
No,
or-
3 shaded trees to replace the ones he's taking down.
I don't think this is in the shoreline guidance area.
I think you talked about that back.
We did back then, and I think it
And we
was.
thought it couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Process. What kind of building material are you gonna use, Scott? I think you had shown an elevation of the garage back in 22.
I didn't see any elevations.
I didn't see any elevation with this one.
I submitted some elevation drawings. I don't know whether they got part of the record or not. I'm looking at a kind of a pole barn configuration with a garage at the north end of the building. Or I'm sorry, garage door at the north end of the building.
Would it be like a rigid frame metal building or?
Yes.
Okay. Have you thought about the color of the facade of the garage?
I have. I'd like to go with a gray. Well, in home we call it chair rail. Gray on the bottom and then white on the top with black trim.
Okay, darker gray the better.
Goes on Laura Lane, which really is a pretty building. It's just in a little ways on Laura Lane on the right hand or left hand side, and I've looked at that one and talked to the owner, and that's a really pretty building that he put there.
Okay, well, I'm glad you put some thought into it.
I have.
Okay,
I've had plenty of time to give it some thought.
yeah, you've been nursing this thing for a couple of years. Just check, you've got to check with the county Public Works Department regarding the driveway. It shouldn't be an issue because it's an existing driveway. I think Lance has covered that in the resolution. The ECB was concerned about the tree removal, and if you replace it, not in kind, but replace it, that would be appreciative. I think that would take care of their concern.
Okay.
Anything else, board members? Amanda, Scott? Anybody in the audience? Here, there, anywhere? Okay, I think we're ready to move this one on. This is a type 2 seeker, which means it takes not a lot of review by us. And if someone wants to make a motion to bundle the type 2 seeker and the site plan approval, I'll accept it.
Trying to find it.
I'll make
Yeah.
a motion. Sorry, everyone, hope you can hear me. I'll make
Go
a
ahead.
motion to
Go ahead,
bundle
Amanda.
type 2 seeker and the single stage site plan for 23-050 4220 County Road 16 with 7 conditions.
And
as
I added,
listed.
and I added an 8th, which was to reflect 3 shaded trees that are to be provided along the front of the building, fronting County Road 16, to replace the 3 shaded trees that are being removed as a result of the construction.
Perfect. Thank you, Lance.
I'll second.
Okay. Got a motion, a second, further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? None? Motion carries. Thanks, Scott. Good luck. Get it done this time.
Yeah, I'm gonna push forward on this. This was a little nice one for you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And now you can move on to the rest of the agenda. Thanks.
Okay, next one is Geneva Homes, representing Rebecca Poole, who lives over on 364, but she's applying for a property at 4273 State Route 21 South. She would like to demolish the existing residence and build a manufactured home in the AR2 zoning. And Rebecca needed to go to the ZBA last week. She did, and she was successful in getting her variance. So we're here to discuss site plan tonight. And someone here representing Rebecca. I thought you were.
I'm Rebecca. So the green area is actually, my mother's home, which we're all living together, within the new house. The old house is falling apart. It needs to come down. So our wanting to do is demolish that home. And then put in, it'll be a little bit bigger of a home, and it's going to accommodate me, my family, and my mom. And we're all going to live in that one area. My father passed away last year. So she was alone, and she's getting older, so she's gonna be by herself, which is fine. So we just want to be able to accommodate her and also be able to have a nice sturdy home. To live in.
Rebecca, I live right outside of Cheshire, so I kind of know where this is really well. My only question is to you is your easement driveway. Is that in the deed to the point where that's an easement for yourself?
Survey says, note number 6, 10-foot right of way per Library 706 of deeds at page 659. I haven't seen that, but
Okay,
but
Yeah. So all of the deeds.
My mom,
that's what I was just looking up.
yeah,
But you don't have a signed survey. Can you do that? Can you get this signed by the surveyor?
a signed surveyor, he had one survey, I think we had. to make
Yeah,
that
so
plan.
one of the conditions would be like prior to being authorized to move forward, he would just sign the survey that he provided if he hasn't done so already.
Okay,
The version that we received didn't have his signature on it. It'd be like his stamp.
Richard,
certified.
because
oh,
Steve,
okay, so I can just tell Chris to have him sign it and then we'll be able.
he should be, and he stamps it. That's right.
Okay, and then he needs to submit the signed one to you guys and then
Yeah,
That signed version would go to the town.
to sound, okay.
and that would satisfy me with, no, so long as it's signed, if the surveyor says they've got a right away, that's good enough for me.
yeah, that's what I will, just to make sure it didn't go away, because it was really tight, that driveway.
Yeah.
Between those two houses.
Bob, if you look, it says 10-foot right away and then see note number 6, and then down there. It says where it is recorded, it's sort of recorded, that's important.
Yeah. You know your neighbors right there?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Who's Therese Johnson?
My mom,
Oh, okay. So it's her property or your property?
it's both, my name just got placed on the deed
Okay, I'm just saying the plan shows her name.
and mine,
Yeah, I had it added.
yeah, she had me added to the deed and everything onto the.
Okay, again, I'm just physically,
Yeah,
Oh.
I see what you're saying.
yeah, her name pops out, that's why.
Yeah, mine is.
My sorry eyes can only see the big print.
Well, I think all that can be addressed through the engineer comments. Lance can just say, change this, change that. The surveyor can just poke it into the computer and then sign in.
The property to the north where the sheds are, is that a separate lot or is that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And you don't use that as access? Okay.
No.
So I think the county assumed that was your access.
That's also another way access.
Your property goes all the way back to that pond, though.
Yes,
That's a nice piece.
yes,
Yeah.
and most of it is non-livable, to do anything with, because it's on a huge hill and it's all wooded area, so.
Yeah.
Definitely want to change it anyways.
Okay, let's see if anything else. You got your ZBA, talked about the access easement.
Driveway's not gonna change, no.
No, that's staying.
This is, oh, I don't think. Let's see, we don't necessarily have to see it. When was it last occupied, the house? How long?
Say again,
When was it last occupied, the house?
meaning
When did somebody live in it? You
a
said,
couple of months ago, my mom's living with me while we're waiting
okay.
for it to be, she's lived there the whole time.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was, the point it was falling in or,
No,
Okay.
it's, the foundation's definitely.
Okay, it's
falling,
foundation.
So,
our friends at NIDOT, And no comments, they said they couldn't find the house, so.
It's got to find.
It's hard. And again,
I
Murph,
drive by there all the time.
Murph had asked about utilities,
And being close to the road. Yeah.
lands. Yeah. And related to that, Fletcher had said, share the water main. There's a 20-foot water easement.
Yeah, that,
Not shown.
it's not that, it's not shown, I thought there's a structure, we gotta, so Fletcher's comments were the water main is not shown on the plans, which is in our letters, Rob. The town has an 8-inch ACP water main that runs in front of the existing home. This is to be depicted on the plat. The town has a 20-foot easement over said water main that no structures will be allowed to build building, site plans will need to be revised. So. Once you pick up, the surveyor picks up the water main, then he'll be able to put the easement on there. And then that will show you where, I don't know if the corner of the house is sitting on an easement. Or if the easement's way over here and he's just pointing out, hey, by the way, you're not gonna be allowed to build on it. But without seeing the water main, without seeing the water easement, it's hard to know.
Is that the water main right there?
This is the water, this is service,
Yeah, it goes down.
I
the
don't
other
know
ones.
where the water main is, so. What would happen, what's gonna have to happen is these plans would be revised to show that town water main
Okay,
drainage. And to show that existing easement. If any part of your building's on said easement, it's gonna have to be shifted, the building will have to be shifted.
It goes across here, then goes up. And then goes down that property there.
Not under the new house?
No,
Okay, so you should be fine.
As long as the house is in the easement.
no, it shouldn't be.
What's the
because-
town's easement? If the-
No, I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not my problem,
Well, he built a house,
but that would be the indication.
so there used to be a very big barn back here. And it went around behind that barn and across and down the bus.
That's why.
And then up that way and then down that.
Yeah, I think once the surveyor just adds that information to the plat, you'll know whether the house has to shift or not.
Okay.
Now, if it shifts, do we have to go through another variance?
I think the question will be is if the house is inside the easement, I would have you come to the town and have this dialogue with Fletcher and the town about what that stuff looks like, if at all.
We can work something out.
Or, yeah. This is
But for right now, I
the
think
infamous
just get it on the
water
plan,
lines in the
so that
back
they'll
of
move
homes,
forward,
Cheshire.
conditioning as such.
Same
And then we'll
thing,
work
yes,
through
They're in the
that.
back of the.
Well, if your friend of the house is in the easement, then before doing any changes, come
I
to
know
the
you
town and
did,
have a
I'm trying to
dialogue.
get it up front.
Okay,
Okay?
right now,
But
do
not
I
yet.
am interested in by the surveyor to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't, know. okay.
You can call it,
I mean, I
you
can,
can call Kristen tomorrow. She'll walk you through the conditions and what you need to do.
does your survey have access to the cloud permit where information was being
Chris
passed?
does, I don't know. about
Who's
the
Chris?
Yeah, we don't know.
Who's Chris?
Jack Talent, the Ginny Holmes.
Jenny
Oh,
I see that.
so yeah, then I would imagine that person would be to communicate with it, but probably you would want to confirm that here.
Okay.
Don't worry, it'll help you. You look concerned, don't be anxious. Yes.
All right, thank you.
No, thank you for,
Then you're gonna have to
Certainly.
connect your two decks. Pool
Okay.
deck, you're gonna have to connect your pool deck to your house deck eventually. You can walk right out and dive in the
No,
pool.
that is a thought in the future, yeah,
Screw it on your claim.
thought.
Little walkway at least.
Well, we'll be back for that one probably.
okay, anybody in the audience, have any questions of the board regarding this application? Comments?
Can I just
Sure.
make a comment? Yeah, I'm David Kroll. I'm your town justice. And I'm here as an observer tonight, and also I'm related to the applicants for this. And also my family has property within the number of feet, so we all got notified about it, okay? So I just wanted to say that we approve of the situation and building. And all I would ask is they'd like to get in before the snow flies. either put off the snow flying or until February, or if we get approval on this tonight and we get a permit and move ahead with the surveyor's signature on that.
As fast as your surveyor can sign this stuff. You can get with all the, there's gonna be conditions, your contractor and your surveyor should know how to deal with all those. They deal with that regularly. And it looks like you didn't locate, or he didn't, no efforts were made to locate underground improvements. I'm assuming that means the water main. But
Yeah,
I don't think he has to go look for it. I think he can just get it at the county clerk's office.
You should be able to pick
Should
it up
be able to get
relatively
it.
easy. That's the big one. Get the water main on there, get the easement on there, and then that will dictate whatever occurs next.
I think the town about 5 years ago or so did a total survey of all water lines, so
Probably.
they should show it.
Should
in
be
there.
sure, yeah,
Dave,
exactly.
maybe call Jim tomorrow.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, talk to Jim.
Cause he's the one who would be able to, he knows what he's talking about. That's what I would.
Those are his
Talk to him.
comments.
So if we get all of them and we get the survey and everything else and bring this in, we could be, if you approve it, eligible for the building permit, and then they could move ahead.
No, not this week. I don't wanna mislead you.
It's gonna be 70, this is no snow this week.
Right,
We're okay with
We
it.
put off the snow this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim will be able to tell you what he's.
Okay.
I don't really know.
I think the steps are relatively easy. It's just a matter of getting everything into the town. So step one would be communicate with your surveyor and or Jim to get the water main and the plat up to speed. Step two would be for the town to review said plat, sign it. Probably gonna have to have it filed before they're gonna issue a permit and go that route
Well, where now with the town?
with the town.
Okay, all right.
Call Jim and Doug and I can help you guys.
And one of the conditions in there, you'll
Yeah.
guarantee the 70-degree days.
I will wait all of our approvals actually guarantee.
Your Honor, we've gotta make a motion before you make all these.
Yeah, it
plans.
seems like.
You better let us do that.
Okay,
3 minutes are up.
I 3 minutes, thank you.
I'll take a bundle motion for both the secret type 2 and the site.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to make a bundled motion for CPN 23-104 for the seeker resolution type 2 action combined with single stage site plan approval for 4273 State Route 21 South. With 8 conditions.
There's 9, but I'll talk to you about the 9th one. The 9th one is the survey plan is to be signed by a licensed professional surveyor and submitted to the town prior to signatures being fixed to the plat by the chairman. That was the 9th one that was added in. The one that I would ask the board to consider is number 3. On a project like this where there is no foundation being dug, is there a need? Does the board still feel that there's a need for a soil stabilization and an erosion control surety estimate to be provided to the town? I know it's typically a condition that we impose on lakefront properties and properties that have an abundance of some level of disturbance associated with them. I'm just pointing out that that's a carried over condition for your consideration. I just didn't want to gloss over without having the dialogue. I can explain it to you.
It's kind of tight back there. I just, there would be some dirt flying for the setting of the foundation. I don't know, how's the rest of the board feel?
That's what I think too. There'd be at least some ground work done. I think something had to be done.
Leave it. Okay, and that other condition, sign and date.
Yes, sign and date.
Okay, it wasn't dated either. But I knew you had a trouble with the resolution. Okay, those are the conditions.
Mind if I address that?
I second that.
So these conditions will be available to you guys probably by tomorrow. I can even give you a draft. So that they won't be signed officially until they gotta go through the process internally, but you'll have a draft so that you know what it is that you guys have to do on your end. That way it can be expedited. Of the 9 conditions, most of them are like addressing our comments, addressing this comment. So doing exactly what we suggested, talking to the surveyor, and getting them to update the plan, and then communicating that with the town. That's the big one. The second one, the surety estimate. That's an estimate that gets imposed on, that gets required on every application that comes to the town. It's a dollar amount that secures that the site's gonna be stabilized. That money comes back to you after the project gets built and inspection is done. It's a dollar amount covering like the erosion control, the stabilization of the site, those methods that are being shown. That's gonna be required to be provided before a permit is issued. The town can work with you on what that looks like.
Yeah.
Your builder should know what that looks like.
Okay.
You're putting a new septic system in too, right?
Yes.
Okay, that'll have some turning on soil and,
I just pointed out, I thought that was good.
do we need any confirmation that the sewer system's been approved by the watershed?
I have it on here.
Do you?
Number
Okay,
four.
I'm sorry.
Prior to issuance of a building permit and approval from the Canada Lake Watershed Inspector regarding the review of the onsite wastewater
Good,
treatment
good.
system.
All right, we got a motion, a second, further discussion by the board? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to motion approved. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Moving on to Works Engineering again. It's John Jones, Lighting and Barrel, I guess, huh? He's here for a
Thank you.
property, thank you. Have a good Halloween.
It's actually my birthday, so- Yeah, that's her birthday.
Oh, perfect.
Oh.
Okay, the next application is for County Route 32, site plan approval requested for the construction of a new single-family residence driveway wastewater treatment system for a dwelling on which there are two existing accessory buildings in the AR2. Waivers from the special use permit requirements granted previously. All right, we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, on my review of the property, I did have an opportunity to speak with Roger Layton.
Mr. Layton, yeah.
At the time I was there, just so that that's noted.
Okay, and I talked to him too, to the car windows. He wanted to know what I was doing there, so. And let him know. Okay, this is a property that has been subject of a. Let me real quickly go through the history. I guess a previous owner, along with Mr. Layton, had a construction business, and he was also selling construction equipment, and it was being done at the property without any types of permits. There were a number of complaints from neighbors about the way the operation was being run. So I think the applicant or the property owner was told that you need a special use permit to do what you're doing. He came in, he said, what I'm gonna do is put all that equipment or most of that equipment in a building. I'd like to build a building. And it was a single lot at the time. It had a home on it existing. And the applicant was granted a waiver to have a construction business on the same property as a dwelling. Where the dwelling was first there and then the construction business came second. Then the property was subsequently subdivided. That the home that was on the property was subdivided off from the parent lot. The building, the storage, construction company was on the other lot. So I think we're here this evening at the request of Mr. Layton to now build a house in the back of the lot that has the construction building. So does that cover the history pretty much? Does everybody remember? I guess nobody
I
there.
remember.
Okay.
That's right. Thank you for that.
All right, with that being said, I guess, John, you're still representing the applicant?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I am. I believe there is a Layton on the Zoom.
Oh, I see, Jamie Layton, yes.
Yeah, so they're, if they have any questions for them, you could potentially help answer them. But yeah, thanks for that history. That was helpful. I didn't know some of that actually, so that was helpful. So yeah, we're here for the site plan approval for the newly subdivided lot. The new development is just a single family house, 3-bedroom home, attached garage behind the two existing buildings. The utilities, there's already a water service for the barn that we're just going to tap into to serve the house, and then the septic will be located behind the house, downhill from the home. There's steep slopes on the site, but we're not disturbing. They're not even near the limits of disturbance for the house. And there's also a creek behind the house that we're not disturbing either. So yeah, unless the Laytons have anything else to add, that's all I've got for this one.
Jamie, was my preface accurate as to how I described what's transpired on the property as far as you know?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this is Roger. I'm just on my wife's phone, which is
Oh,
Jamie.
okay.
Yes, is what was described by him is correct.
Okay, I know there was a lot of concern by the neighbors when the initial property was developed with the construction business. There are quite a few conditions imposed on you in your receiving your special use permit back in, oh gosh, this was in 2018. And it's the subject of a couple of hearings during the course of the spring and the summer of 18. And then on August 14th, you did get your special use permit with, as I said, quite a few conditions and also some waivers. One of those waivers that is available, I have a quick question for you. One of the waivers was the planning board grant a waiver from the prohibition for a dwelling unit on the subject property. Now that was under the consideration that the house was there, single lot, built the construction business, and the construction business was again built with the intent of trying to get a lot of the equipment that was out in the open under roof. And I think it's looking at the construction today, I don't know how you felt, Mark, but it appeared it was pretty clean operation. How did you feel about it?
There was a few vehicles.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
they were supposed to keep behind behind the barn also, I remember. And they were supposed to have that berm and the tree was to be all cut.
Well, that was one of my concerns. The trees have gotten kind of shoddy looking. I think they haven't really grown that much, and that's something we certainly maybe should be considered.
That's this one.
Chris, my question is on the Layton application.
Yeah.
Back in 2018, we granted a special use permit, which included a waiver from the now famous section 220-62B, having to do with prohibition for dwelling units on the subject property.
Okay.
Okay, this is where a home existed on the property. And in the interest of trying to clean the property up, we allowed the applicant to build a storage building, which he did, and with a number of conditions. Now, is that waiver still apply now that, well, he subdivided the property, so now we're tilting two lots, one with a house, one with a storage construction business. He wants to build a house on the property.
A second house.
A second house,
On the
well.
original two parcels. Or on the original parcel.
Original parcel, yeah, but that was subdivided.
Yes.
So you have a lot with a construction structure. And the intent is to build, well, there you go. Yeah, it's to build a house in the back.
So the question is.
Does that waiver still apply?
Do we have to re-grant a waiver for that? Is that the question, right? Because we already granted it once, but this condition didn't exist. Now it's being proposed, so therefore, sounds to me like you would, okay,
What's our, I need a little information first. What's our address here? 5993 County Road 32. Is it just,
so,
this is Logan representing Roger Lake. Got it.
or maybe
I gotta find out what, they're here for exclusively a subdivision, or excuse me, site plan for building the new house.
Yes.
yeah,
Is that accurate?
correct. So this house existed, correct? This one existed.
Yep.
They subdivided, that allowed them to create their special use permit that came to us, I think, in 2018. And as a result of that special use permit that's been in effect, now they're proposing to come in with a home on the same site, is that correct?
They subdivided after the special use.
Okay.
Yeah, the subdivision occurred in
No.
last year, August of 22.
Do we, we have the resolution approving the special use. So they're not here for anything related to the special use permit right
Other
now.
than an amended special use
But
permit,
they're here for an amendment to the
just
special
we're
use.
modifying it by adding a house instead of
This
this.
is, okay.
And a waiver.
To me, I think the request is an amended special use permit for those findings that are in the code, section 62, right? You're amending it, you gotta reaffirm those same conditions that you once already did, I would imagine. I don't know why, if you're reapproving a special use permit for a site, I would think the same conditions apply, and we just have to reaffirm them. It may be not applicable, maybe you already granted a waiver, and that's a basis for granting a waiver again. Either way, I would think that you would go through those same 12 to 15 findings like we did in 2018 that we did earlier tonight and make a determination as to whether or not.
Let me ask you this, you granted a waiver for more than one driveway.
Yep. At
Really?
the time.
At the time.
it didn't exist. They had this one and that one.
They
Where's
subdivided
the lot line?
As it exists today, this is the one.
The new one.
What's the grace? That's the, oh, that's the, sorry, that's the septic system. Got it.
This is the proposed house.
Got it, sorry.
They're adding a house to the barn. Which is kind of. In Michigan. That's why I want to know if it's great.
Excuse me.
I'm just reviewing the existing special use permit.
Because original, they came in for the site plan and then it was determined by town and us at PRC that. Because it's on the property that has a special use permit, it seems like we would be requiring them to amend the special use permit. So that it's up to date with the new information.
Why wasn't that being done as a public hearing? Oh, well, it wasn't advertised, we're not considering it as a special use permit.
No, I don't think they need new special use.
Let's leave it as it was.
I think their existing special use permit. You put the special use permit up. When you get a moment, please.
Four weeks. That's the
Yeah.
original.
Go down to the, still the special use permit shall remain in effect. Provided the use remains in compliance with the conditions of approval. In town code section 20-15, which Lance, do you know what that means?
I think that's the site, 35 is special use, 62 is the actual construction site.
Let's get this right, because,
Well, it's no longer compliant with 62 if they're in the house property.
right. Well, but so the issue is, do they already have a waiver? Of having a house and a contractor storage yard?
I see what you're saying.
Are they in compliance with the AR2 residential zoning district? Looks like it. Are they out of compliance with any of these conditions?
Yeah, I
It's a
think
number of
they're-
form.
they've
The subject
enhanced
is
stuff.
staying the same.
No, I think that's important, Lance.
There any more conditions? Kim?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll control all that. Oh, Lord.
I was quite. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board regarding this application? Okay, surprised that no one's here. None of the neighbors.
If it wasn't,
You know what?
Is this public?
said it wasn't advertised for a public hearing.
This one was, don't they get the 500-foot notice of the applications? People still get those or? Okay. Well, oh, that's only public hearings?
Yeah.
That's only for public hearings or all applications? The 500-foot,
Only public hearings.
okay. Folks, I am,
So your special use permit says that there was a waiver? But that the application is incomplete. What? Kristen, have those issues been addressed? Because your zoning law determination references the waiver and doesn't say they need a new waiver. I concur.
Right. The checklist items. Have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you already granted a waiver of the house on the lot.
Therefore, they don't need to amend that should be, therefore, not
even
advertised.
though it's a different shaped lot.
You know, you,
We didn't amend it as part of the subdivision, right? When they subdivided after the fact, that we didn't amend. it.
I think there was I couldn't find it. There was an amended SUP
Like for, I could-
with the subdivision.
Okay. I didn't see that one.
so I think you amend the SUP for this lot configuration, but I don't think you have to re-grant a waiver. Does that make sense? You have a waiver, so you can amend the special use permit.
Okay,
I think-
which requires a public hearing.
Yeah,
I agree. Knowing how hot an issue this property was.
Yeah.
Early on. Have you gotten many phone calls about this?
so you're making a motion to continue this for advertisement and public hearing, right, Chuck?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, sorry, one sec. Could you just summarize what you're saying there?
Chuck is going to make a motion to continue this matter to the next available public hearing date so that staff can advertise it and then we can conduct a public hearing.
For the special use.
Because you have to amend the site plan upon which the special use permit is contingent.
Okay. All right, got it.
So I made that motion.
Second.
Further discussion on the motion to continue. Oh, how about next March?
I think if you look, your November 14th schedule looks pretty lengthy. You might want to consider your second November meeting, which is the
28th.
28th. It's up to the board.
Okay,
Mark, you don't see it, but I provided them a rough calendar outlook of the applications that are forthcoming.
yeah, I amend my motion to include
Rough.
the date of November 28th meeting. Second concurred. Okay. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Next is Mark's Engineering. You guys are earning your money tonight. Representing Richard Snook. The applicant is requesting a site plan approval for a new landscaping contracting facility in the industrial zone on Airport Road. Okay. You again, John?
Yeah, that's me again. John Jones, Marks Engineering. Yeah, so the property is 36 acres. It's located on the south side of Airport Road. Currently, it's exists as vacant land. We're in the industrial zoning district, and we're not requesting any variances with the site plan. Proposed access to this site is from two access drives, one for a tractor trailer and one for pedestrian access. The application involves the construction of three main buildings, which include an office building, a maintenance building, and a storage building, and other site improvements, which include parking for the office building, parking for the maintenance building, tractor trailer parking, trailer parking, tractor trailer loading offloading area, material storage bunkers, salt storage bunkers, and a miscellaneous equipment storage gravel area. The applicant is also proposing on-site nursery storage for plant material. For utilities, there's water and sewer along Airport Road that we are connecting into, where there's a stormwater facility located in the rear of the lot to handle the new impervious area. Lighting is provided with building mounted lights on the office maintenance buildings, and also one pole mounted light near the pedestrian access. And landscaping is provided along the Airport Road frontage. I believe, yeah, we've received comments from MRB. I think that was on Friday, and don't see any issues in addressing those. And I think that's all I got for the board tonight.
Okay. Got a piece of industrial property. We got a use that's allowable within the industrial. John, what's the intent of the applicant for the property the other side of Airport Road? Just the status quo?
Which one? Sorry.
Across Airport Road, there's it's part of, I guess, the parent lot.
Yeah, there's no plans for that at the moment. That's just additional acreage.
I guess land, my question to you mainly, or John there, why is there two septic system hookups on each building? I've never seen that before.
John, go through.
John, why is that?
Yeah, it was a cost saving, just because there's quite a bit of a grade difference between where those buildings are getting built. So you'd have to either pump up to one and then go across with the other.
Is that allowable, John?
It'll really come down to the county sewer district.
Jack Braun's still looking it over, and he'll tell us what we have to do.
I can't say that it hasn't been allowed before, but yes, it's not typically seen.
Okay. Cam, can you bring up the landscaping plan that they have? I had a question on that.
One more.
There's the.
There you go. So John, on your landscaping plan, I see the trees or bushes or whatever in front of the property to the north, I guess. And then there's a gap between both driveways. Why is that when you have additional trees to the west there? Or, yeah. There should be some, at least landscaping all the way across there should be a gap there in my mind.
Yeah, I'd have to ask Logan, our landscaper, on that. I would assume just off the top of my head, he was trying to just prevent shade from being cast down onto the nursery area. And I guess maybe he's thinking it's not really blocking anything like there. It's gonna be nursery anyways. But yeah, I can run that by Logan and see what he says.
I think some of it too is the line of sight distance. For vehicles coming around the turn.
Yeah, that's a good
Obviously,
point, Lance.
shaded trees would be difficult, or evergreens, but there's probably still a way to accommodate landscaping along that area. Something to consider.
The other thought I had, and I don't know about if we need it there, but a sidewalk easement. That's all I had, John, was those.
Well, I got the landscape plan up. My thought was, I was concerned about people coming from the west heading east on Airport. They're gonna be looking at the parking lot, the storage yard. And I would think it'd be prudent to put some sort of a buffer on the west side of the parking lot and the west side of the stockpile yard. And that may solve that problem with not having to fill in that landscaping of the airport. You understand what I'm saying, John?
Say that again, sorry.
Some sort of buffer running parallel to the entrance alongside the office building, down through along the parking lot, obviously jumping across the other driveway, and then the buffer continuing along the paved area or the gravel area where the stockpiles are.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we can accommodate that.
And one other question, where are you storing nursery stock on this property, you said? Oh, in the front there.
Yeah, that hatching there is the designated area for nursery stock.
That's gonna add some buffer, but it'll be moving around.
Yeah.
And there's also a natural swale.
I know where to get my next tree. So
And
there'll be
John,
no fence, no security for that, that'll just be old and burlap nursery stock laying out in the front there?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if they're planning fencing or any type of security there. Yeah, I could run that by the applicant.
There is some fencing or gates proposed, John, I don't. Is it, I guess maybe I misinterpreted it as well. Is that just around, the best of your knowledge, just around the facility, not including the nursery? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not quite sure on that one, actually, Lance. I gotta run that by
Okay.
the applicant and get a better answer for you.
hey, John, just to confirm, I don't know if you said it, but this is non-retail. This is not open to the public. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Non-retail. Got it.
John, this is Scott. I have a quick question. Clarify for me the salt bunker. So is that like a masonry base? Like we see with the towns, it's for salt storage and it's got some type of like a cover that's, I don't know, not canvas, but what's the bunker, or the salt bunker in your mind?
Yeah, basically similar. I don't know the exact material of what they're gonna build that out as, but this business, they also do snow plow in the winter and snow removal and all that. So they use the salt for that reason. But I'm not exactly sure what the salt storage bunkers will actually be built out of or what they'll
Is there one of those, or you mentioned the three buildings and then a salt bunker or a couple or what?
There's two bunkers planned right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Related to that, salt when exposed to rain, can create a brine. What's the intent to control that brine in your bunker? Is it to cover the salt so it doesn't get exposed to rain, or is
Yeah,
it
it's gonna be covered. I just don't know exactly what that'll look like. But it's not gonna be open to the elements.
Another question to ask your client. You're gonna wish you had your clients here, John.
Yeah.
I wish they were as well.
I understand. Not that we're insulted that they aren't here, but
No,
they're
they're little. I mean, no, and if they care about this or not.
Yeah, you would think so. Then also the other bunkers, you'll have mulch. And bark mulch and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, mulch, I don't know exactly again what they're planning, but yeah, typical landscape,
Well, again, there could be an issue with leachate from the mulch. That should be controlled depending on how it's sloped, if it's sloped to go into the stone. Are you proposing a trash and recycling corral somewhere here? Didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't think we're calling that out anywhere. We can certainly find a spot for that though.
You have a lot of parking spaces. When there's a need for that, we have a lot of discretion in how many parking spaces are required, but we usually base it on some sort of parking analysis that the applicant provides to justify the number of spaces. We don't want too few, but we don't want too many. So there should be some justification for the parking spaces you're requesting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that brings us to a problem that I just saw. In the statement of operations, one, it's not signed, making the application incomplete. And two, number 4 says number of employees during our peak landscape season.
Right.
We could have approximately blank employees. During the winter months, we generally would have 10 to 20 employees at the business location daily. And I think that ties in with the parking issue, and it's not. I mean, unless John knows for certain the answer to that, I think he can't guess, unfortunately.
And the question came up about handicap. Spots and numbers,
2 out of 55.
and there should be 4, 55, I believe.
Well,
And why isn't there any by the maintenance building?
Okay.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm looking through my documents here to see if I have anything to answer that question.
The Farmington Water brought up the issue that your water line's too small. It's got to be enlarged to handle what you're proposing. So any amended plans you submit should include that.
Okay, yep, noted.
You are requesting 2 driveways to this property, which would require a waiver from us. I'm not hearing a lot of concern on that issue because you have such a large frontage. I can see the justification for a separate materials driveway.
And semi truck,
Yeah. So that's probably something we could live with. They'll vote.
if a waiver is requested, by the applicant in writing, which is the requirement of town code section 220-34 and or section 220-35. Can't do it without a request.
No, yeah, and two driveways, it doesn't matter what zoning district you're in.
Well, again, with, John, I would request and suggest that you guys go through the 220-62 and write out which ones you meet and which ones aren't. And if you're not gonna revise the plans, request a waiver in writing. You don't have the signage, the buffer.
What do we need that in regard to this application?
Because you don't. How is it not a special use permit?
There's no special use permit involved here.
Well, then never mind. Saw your statement of operations and assumed it was.
I think it's just a general code requirement that you can't have two driveways for the property. Which we've waived before, I think, or the CBA waiver.
Yeah, we're just going for site plan approval. We don't need, there's no variances or anything for this.
No, the fact that you have two driveways access, trying to determine which that's not in compliance with.
What is your zoning law determination say about it?
To obtain planning board approval for additional access.
Oh, yeah. The applicant shall provide a parking demand analysis. Do we have that?
That's what I mentioned about the justification for the parking spaces.
I won't talk about it anymore.
Right.
Sorry.
Doesn't look like parking analysis.
All right, well, sounds like the applicant's got some homework to do, John. You gotta go back to Mr. Schnook. And talk about some of these issues, and it sounds like we're looking at a set of amended plans before the next discussion of this application. So I think we're going to continue 28th again. Okay. We'll continue. I'll make a motion that we continue discussion of CPN 23093 to the 28th of November. Second. Okay. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about the confusion. I just saw another contractor storage yard and assumed it was another special use permit.
Just, at least
And thought, it's a lot of these.
at least it's in the industrial. that
Yeah.
is. All right, let's quickly move on to 23-100. Lost Lance. Evan Gilbert wants to build a recreational facility, indoor sports facility out on County Route 22. This is in the MUO. It was given to us by town board to consider, is it an appropriate use? And I think we were in unanimous agreement that we need more sports facilities, indoor facilities in our town. And asked Mr. Gilbert to go ahead and submit a site plan. And a site plan has been submitted. But I guess we've got an issue to deal with regarding seeker.
Correct.
First.
So seeker application with the town is that seeker states type 1 actions, if you are in an ag district, which this is. Basically, type 1 actions list disturbance at threshold, so typically it's 10 acres. However, if you're in an ag district, that gets reduced from 10 acres of disturbance down to 2.5. So they're greater than 2.5 acres of disturbance for the entire project. Therefore, that triggers it to be a type 1 action. The applicant did provide a full EAF for the board's consideration. what the intent tonight would be to begin that coordinated review with outside agencies. Canandaigua does a good job of coordinating the application with all those agencies already. So they're all have received it, but we still technically have to go through what is called the lead agency coordination effort. And so tonight, what is before you for consideration is the intent to be lead agency. That would then provide MRB Group the ability to send out these packages with a request. And it will go through a 30-day coordinated review period, which would end after your November meetings. What we would be asking for is the same thing that Canandaigua has already solicited them for, questions and comments and concerns, but also for their, whether or not they have any objection to you guys being the lead agency for completing the environmental review of this application. This will include the town board amongst other things as well, including the school district and things like that. Once the board begins this process, then the next step would be the board at probably your December board meeting, completing the seeker part full EAF part 2 and part 3, assuming we have the materials necessary for you guys to go through that process. And then I believe after that, it would go back to the town board for the zoning designation.
I remember. Okay, so tonight we're the action required is to declare our intent to be the lead agency regarding this application and starting the process of coordinated reviews. And we don't have to go through who we send this to, unless there's somebody unique to this application that we feel.
It's gonna, for the most part, follow all the same people that were identified as part of the referral process in the club permit. And then they'll have the school district for just because it's a sports facility, stuff like that, buses and drop-offs. But all the same agencies that were applicable for the review will also be included. DEC will be added in, DOH for water supply, those type of agencies will be included as well. And also as the town board.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about any of the volunteer sports clubs like Castle or, but no, it's environmental, so it's not. I know they're supporting such a facility.
I think club teams typically it would be what, individual residential parents dropping you off, whereas a school district might have a bus or some affiliation thereof. Typically, I don't know that to be true.
A chance to practice in the winter. They're full of spring teams. That's a great opportunity. School district. Okay, so anybody want to make a motion or discuss?
I'll make the motion
Okay, let's keep it.
for the seeker intent to be lead agency on CPN 23-100 for 2625 County Road 22.
Second.
A motion second for discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that gets us down to the minutes from October 10th. Somebody want to make a motion?
I move to accept the minutes from October 10th.
Second.
Okay, any further additions, corrections after Karine sent the minutes out? I didn't see any, so they stand as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we got some money to give away. First
Before
one
you get
being,
into that, I just want to say thanks for listening to me. Take
okay.
care.
Good night, John.
Bring friends.
Did you see that Matt Parada has asked a question in the chat?
No.
Inappropriate.
We were. We did. The answer is yes. We did, Matt. Why don't you talk to your engineer?
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Sounds very good. Thank you.
Let's see, charity releases. Let's talk about John and Sue Lewis. County Route 16. Mark, have you had a chance to?
I did. I reviewed
The Lewis's are requesting in terms of $3,300 for soil erosion and sediment control. When you're ready, you can make a motion if one way or the other.
Sure, I'll make the motion to release the surety. Just looking for the Lewis residents on CPN 2021-011 in the amount of $3,300.
And this is the initial and final. This is the whole kibosh. I see.
Yeah, it's just a surety.
Yeah, okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I had that second.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you need a second on that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Do we need a second?
Yeah, we got it.
And Mark, I'll have you know that Amanda filled in very well for you on some releases we did when you weren't here. She carried the ball.
I'm in charge of releases now, is that what?
Yeah.
She gets the clock and I get to.
Well, she adjourned to
How it
meetings
works.
and you.
Punishment for complaining, is that what you're saying?
And Scott's in charge of refreshments.
So we,
All right, we have a request from John Salisbury. 4487 Middle Cheshire Road. Another soil erosion control. We don't know what the CPN number is.
I looked it up. I couldn't find it. I do not know.
Sure, it's on our 10. All right, so I know Middle Cheshire.
so
Okay.
based on the feedback that we have from our town employees, I'm happy to do the surety release for John Salisbury at 4487 Middle Cheshire Road. CPN not known in the amount of $1,000.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, for discussion, if not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The surety is released. Okay, I'm gonna skip down to available training. Did you see the email from Lindsay regarding the anti-harassment training? that we all have to do, except for maybe Mark, I think you did it.
I do it every year, and she says that I do get to use that, so I just send her my certificate every year when I do it.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
But
And
the
I
rest
feel-
of
I
us.
feel harassed.
No, I'm complimenting you.
We haven't had a class yet.
It's
Oh.
positive harassment. Not negative. But the rest of us have until the 17th to either do it online. Or Lindsay will be here on the 1st of November at 1:30 to do an in-house training. And they do qualify as training. Right?
They do.
They do. And speaking of training points. Kim was very good at getting out the spreadsheet with all our training. I think we're in pretty good shape. Amanda, whenever you get better, you have a couple things to do, I guess.
Your training credits like tax credits, we get to sell them if we have extras.
You can hold them over. You can roll them over.
I might be close to my 5-year limit.
I'm good next year.
Okay. Oh, we're keeping our sick people, taking your medicine. All right. And the last thing I have is, we've been reminded that we've got to provide some sort of review of the German Brothers. Oh. Rezoning request. I guess the application is complete. I don't know if we're gonna see much more in the near future. So if we want to look at our calendar for the rest of the year, anytime we could squeeze this in, I'm thinking maybe the next meeting at least open the discussion and start the discussion. And I think what we're looking at is what kind of incentives, amenities should the town be looking at in terms of in return for what the applicant has proposed.
And it would be good if we came to that meeting prepared with something that we could put together in the letter once we look.
Now, right, would it be good to have the applicant here to make a presentation?
I think that'd be great because we haven't heard from him.
Not really, that's why
Yeah.
I don't feel we've officially started
Right.
to discuss this.
Secondhand.
Everybody keeps saying we have 45 days from the date that the town board sent us the notice, but it's 45 days from our date of our first discussion on the application. So we haven't really opened discussion yet on it, but let's open it.
Is the intent of that also to give comments on design? Or is it just towards the incentives?
That's just any and all comments.
Yeah, like treat it like a site or
Get it like I say.
Yeah, it's good analysis.
Okay.
So let's, the staff hearing, we want to open discussions of German Brothers at our November 14th meeting. Okay. We would ask that, Mr. Westbrook and Mr. Rude, make a presentation to the board. Where we stand. So, all that being said, it looks like we've got.
Was that also a public hearing? Oh, well,
I think it has to be advertised.
Not a sketch. Would be.
No, you're just submitting an advisory.
It's advisory.
Yeah.
We haven't done it for MUOs.
Nope, no, it's not.
Okay, November 14th, we all reconvene in this room to talk about Sandy Beach. Two applications. Mr. Delaney, anything from Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
But I think he
Oh,
submitted something
okay.
yesterday.
It was just yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into a discussion, but so we have something something to chew on, huh? Okay, so we have Mr. Delaney, we have Mr. Updike, we have Island Beach. We have the solar SUP at site. We have the Edgemere extension. Do they know that their extension runs out that day? Okay. And Sunset Phase 1 extension. And with that,
Geothermal.
the geothermal,
Yep.
yeah, that's right, on his site.
Bennett, I'm sorry, you guys said Bennett.
Bennett's Island Beach.
Who's
yeah.
getting geothermal? Is that our Bennett from solar?
No.
Okay.
No, he doesn't live in the town. He lived.
We have all the,
Dan.
we have all the beaches coming to the next meeting.
So that's it. We've got geothermal, Sandy Beach ×2, Island Beach, solar, Edgemere, Sunset, some extension requests, and we'll start a discussion on German Bridge.
Oh, I have that.
That's a good meeting right there.
I don't know if you heard this.
I did. I wrote
Gotta
it
get
down.
it, gotta get it going. All right. Anything else? Looks like Amanda and Scott are ready to fade on us, so we'll let you fade, but Amanda, you've got one last task. If nobody else has anything.
I have suggested that we have a baseball game every Tuesday night to play.
That's right, you gotta figure that out.
I mean, it's a day we're tonight, and we're not like early, so I feel bad.
That's awesome.
Game just started, all right.
Okay.
Quick,
With that,
Amanda.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:13 this evening.
Okay, I motion second.
Second.
Aye.
Hearing no objections,
Nope.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess it's got I in that. I can't quite